Hi, this is Dr. Nelson Ferreira from the Seager Hair Transplant Centre. I wanted to present yet another case as part of a continuing education series. This is a gentleman who I did a transplant on approximately about 8 months ago. He's only 24 years old, and originally when he came to see me I assessed him and I recommended really that he should be on medications as opposed to considering a transplant. Sometimes when our clients are young, we like to wait and see what their pattern of hair loss is going to be so that we can better assess their needs for a hair transplant. Anyway, after he thought about it, he came back again and we did a second and then a third consult, and he really wanted to have the transplant. And so we discussed it and we said, look, we need to follow you along for the next several years. You need to stay on the medications. Specifically in his case, he's on Propecia and minoxidil. His family history is such that he might lose more hair in the future, but currently it seems that the medications are really helping him to hang on to his hair. What you see in the video is 2,050 grafts placed mostly into the front of his head. He had a little bit of residual hair, but very little. You'll see that in the before picture. He's quite happy, and we've made an agreement together that we're going to follow him along, that he's going to stay on the medications, and that we'll reassess as needed. We tried to use a strategy here where his transplant will look good essentially for the rest of his life. We chose a hairline that I would call a mature hairline, so that as he gets older, it looks good today, and it'll look good in the future. Anyway, I hope you appreciate the video, and I think the takeaway point here is that the hair transplant has to be put into context for the entire patient's life. How old is he? What are the genetics? How much hair will he or she lose in the future? And what can we do to preserve the hair that is not transplant? This is Dr. Nelson Ferreira from the Seager Medical Center. And he looks fantastic. He's probably going to get about another 10 to 20% more hair growing in. I'm just combing through to show the density. He's also smart enough to understand that he has to take medications, and so he is taking minoxidil and finasteride, and that's a choice that he makes, and I think it's a smart choice because he's a young man. I just wanted to demonstrate that even though he has quite coarse, thick hair, his transplant looks great, and he certainly has a dramatic improvement compared to the way he was before. He has very respectable density. There's a few spots that are still going to fill in, and we'll see him back at 1 year, but at this time I'm very happy with the results. He looks dramatically better. He's a handsome young man, and he looks even better with the transplant in place. I'm just going to tilt his chin up a little bit and comb through. Okay, and let's just turn your head a little bit this way. Good. And I'm just going to try to zoom in a little bit. Having a hard time focusing, so I'm just going to pull back a little bit. There we go. And do it this way as well. I'm going to turn your head a little bit that way, chin up a little bit. Good. I'm going to ask our patient to turn to his left. And again, a completely reconstructed hairline. He looks fantastic. His hair is a little coarse, so the hair doesn't want to sort of follow the direction of the comb sometimes, but it actually looks very nice on him. And there, I'm just combing through. And these results are very possible in all sorts of hair, all sorts of ethnicities. You just have to understand the artistic layout of the transplant and the hair and where it should go. So we're going to see this gentleman again at 1 year and follow him through. We'll be watching carefully over the next few years to see what his pattern of hair loss is and to see if he needs any touch-ups. I'm hoping and praying that the medication will help him hold on to his hair. The transplant, of course, should stay essentially forever, so that we don't need to worry about.